So this video blog is titled Travel Broad, Travel Deep. I have no idea what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but it this all came out. We had a client that went to South Korea, and so I've never been to South Korea, so I started asking her questions about South Korea. As it turned out, and she had all kinds of judgments on, the people and the culture there. Turns out she connected a flight at Incheon Airport in Seoul, and that was her exposure to South Korea. So that inspired this blog post.
Today on Dream, Travel, Share, Unpacked.
If you'd like to receive an email version of today's show, along with our weekly travel opportunities, click on the link below to join our mailing list. We promise to only send you one email a week every Friday. You can unsubscribe at any time, and we won't share your email address with anyone else.
So what's the connection between the client's trip to South Korea and travel broad, travel deep?
Well, I think again it is it's about your what you can count as a country that you visited. So, some people count countries, whatever floats your boat, I guess. I don't think if you connect a flight at an airport that counts as visiting a country. So you might meet a few people from that country. We were using Seoul Incheon Airport as an example. I've been to that airport and it's lovely. But I can't really claim to have been on the ground in South Korea other than having connected a flight there. So I don't really feel qualified to, make judgments or comment on the people or the culture of South Korea. So that got us thinking about, okay, well, are you traveling broadly or are you traveling deeply? And by broadly, meaning that you get a little tiny flavor of what the thing is about, like, again, connecting a flight at an airport.
So then can you get into what does it mean to travel broad?
Yeah, so I mean, that would be an extreme example. You connect a flight. Another one would be, again, cruises, quite honestly, or you get a little tiny sample of each place. And I'm thinking about the, Caribbean cruises, for example. So if you go on one of the floating amusement parks to one of the Caribbean islands, quite often those islands are owned by the cruise line. So they own all the shops on the pier. They own, and some of them, they actually do own an island. A lot of the Bahamas islands are owned by various cruise lines. But even in the other ones where you are actually getting out and you're going out and visiting, people in that country, if you're only there for a few hours, you're kind of just getting a little flavor of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you are just getting a little sample. And quite often what people do is they'll use these cruises to decide, okay, well, which Caribbean island do I like the most? And then maybe I'll go back there. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you need to sort of have one eye to the fact that you're not getting really exposed to the people and its culture when you're there for a few hours.
Yeah, I agree. I was in the Japan airport, and I was there for 12 hours. I can't say that I was in Japan.
Yeah,
because that's all I did. Okay, tell me more about the deep part of this.
Yeah, well, if you can imagine, we put a graphic together, and I'll pop that up. But you can imagine on the other side of this, probably the other extreme example would be move to a place, right? And so, like, Kim, you are in Mexico right now, so you have been there for several months this year. You know that place very well, so you know its people, you know its culture. Maybe you've started to learn a little bit of the language. That's traveling deeply. So again, you might be so you're not getting a little sample of a whole bunch of different countries. You are immersed in that particular country, and you get to learn and experience a lot of that people and how it works.
That's what the cruises are good for. I was on a river cruise and I fell in love with Strasbourg, France, when I was on the Rhine. My husband and I are going to go back there for a couple of weeks at least now, and it's a very small place, but we will be deeply embedded into the culture there after 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. Or if you go, rent an apartment for a month somewhere. I mean, that's traveling more deeply.
So what do you think is better?
I don't think, and it's probably sounding a little bit judgy here, but I don't think one's better than the other. I think it's just about having your eyes wide open about, what sort of experience you're looking for. So, again, don't do one port stop in Latvia and using Latvia as an example and think that you fully understand the culture and people of that place. Again, it's great to go get a little taste, and so we talked about the Caribbean islands. Greece would be another place. So each of those Greek islands has a real unique flavor to it. And when you do a cruise, that's a very efficient way to say, okay, I went to Mykonos and Santorini and Rhodos and these other places. And so I learned a little bit about Greece, but I also decided when I go back, which one would I rather go to? So I think there's use for both traveling broadly and traveling deeply. I think you just have to be very clear when you're planning a trip, which one of those things that it is.
And what do you think why should people care about this?
Well, I think it's largely what we were just talking about is that, again, if you think that you're going to go on river cruises are a little bit different. River cruises, you are immersed in a place, and because you don't travel as far in a week, you're often in maybe just one or two countries. On an ocean cruise, you might be in a different country every single day. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it's a great way to get a sample of a whole bunch of different places. And again, one of the things that our clients really like about ocean cruising is that it's efficient, right? For lack of it's a kind of a poor way to describe it, but the fact that you're moving while you're asleep at night means that you can see a lot in a week or 12 days or whatever the case may be. So, I think people should care about this, because when you're planning a trip, don't be under any illusions that when you stop in Strasbourg, France, right, that you're going to get you get to walk around the center or city center. There's a World Heritage Site. It's really interesting, but you're not really going to get a feel for that place unless you do go back for a couple of weeks.
Okay, thanks, Bob. What are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're doing a destination feature on Istanbul and more broadly Turkey in general. It's certainly an emerging destination in the Eastern Mediterranean as a cruise ship port. And purely by circumstance, Sue and I have been there 3 times in the last 2 years. So we've learned an awful lot about Turkey, and we want to share that.
Well, I look forward to it.
We'll see you then.
Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video blog, it really helps us when you like, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so that we know the best content to produce for you. If you want to book a cruise or packaged land vacation, then we'd love to help you out. We know the products and destinations very well, and we can always get you something not available on direct bookings. Our coordinates are in the notes below. Also, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, you get 1 email a week every Friday with some commentary and some different deals that we're seeing in the marketplace. We don't share your information with anyone else, and if you decide it's not for you, then we're sorry to see you go, but there's an unsubscribe button at the bottom of every email. See you next time.